if you're an online seller, if I'm gonna go to your website or any other social media pages, and I scroll through your feed, I see all these creatives and visuals that you post on there. In that way, your visual branding, without you knowing, is already communicating what your brand is all about, like to your to whoever is viewing your page.
Welcome to the Payo E-commerce Academy podcast, where we help you with your e-commerce journey. Here are your hosts, Jen and Chooey.
Hey guys, I'm Coach Jen.
And I'm Coach Chooey.
And we're back for another episode of Payo E-commerce Academy podcast. Yay! So in the previous episode, we talked about branding as well as digital marketing. So this week is gonna be all about visual branding.
So quick disclaimer, I did not take the mystic arts of marketing, but I come from the perspective of being a creative head during college, so that's a little bit of my umbug today. But that taught me a bit about the ropes behind visual branding, which, if you don't know, is basically the elements that are used to represent your business. So it could come from your logo to your font of choice to the shade of red you want for your business, and each of these components really just work together to create that overall look, feel, or dare I say, message of your company to your customers.
Yeah, and don't take it from us, take it from someone who lives and breathes visual branding. We've invited our lead brand designer, Anjeli Celaje, who will walk us through what visual branding is, why it's important, and how it shapes the perception of our audiences. So yay! Welcome!
Hi, thanks for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, so good to have you here.
Real quick, I think before we start asking you, shooting you all these questions directly, maybe give the people who's listening a little bit of a background of what you do as the visual brand, the lead brand designer of Payo, maybe.
Yeah, so basically I am in charge of all the visuals that Payo produces, be it on digital media or even in traditional. And yeah, that's actually very straightforward.
Yeah.
I'm the one who designs static visuals for Payo, and also the videos that you see on our TikTok. And
Yeah. She's the creative genius behind all of this.
Yeah. So first and foremost, Ange, can you tell us probably an overview of what visual branding is?
Yeah, so visual branding is basically like what you said earlier, Chooey. It's when you use these visual elements such as logo, typography, colors, imagery, and any other design styles that you use to represent your product or your company. So it's creating this personality for your brand, like how your brand should look and feel. So imagine if you're gonna personify your brand, kumbaga. If you're an online seller, if I'm gonna go to your website or any other social media pages, and I scroll through your feed, I see all these creatives and visuals that you post on there. In that way, your visual branding, without you knowing, is already communicating what your brand is all about, to your to whoever is viewing your page. So yeah, that's how powerful that.
I love that point, because that means that you think you were able to tell about a person's personality based on what you see in their IG.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Can you give examples of what that looks like? For example, what's the brand and what's the personality you can get from it?
Yeah, so
Just for fun.
yeah. So if you're gonna go to Nike website,
Okay.
so their brand is very minimalist, right? Very
True.
clean,
Very clean.
Yeah. And you can see that on their products as well. It's very straightforward and very stylish. Their website already reflects their personality, their brand personality.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, with the clean aesthetic and minimalist aesthetic of Nike, what's the message that it kind of is trying to say to their customers? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so minimalist naman depende siya sa on how you view it and how you present it actually. You can associate yung minimalism to kind of like in the higher, price point or like, mostly ganon.
I get
Pero
that.
of course there are also some minimalist brands na very affordable naman and like people friendly ganon.
Mhm.
So it actually really depends on how you present the minimalist style.
Right.
Yeah.
So the message is kind of we're clean, we're minimal, and
Yeah.
so it kind of brings you
Straightforward.
status.
Yeah,
It will
yeah,
give
exactly.
you that kind of look.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So to just jump on that, one of the questions I want to ask was, what do you think, like in your opinion, what are the most important concepts to remember when it comes to visual branding?
Okay, so first and foremost, before actually diving in straight to like your creative process na kaagad, you have to you have to know how you want to position your brand in this certain spectrum. Like, do you want your brand to appear as someone who's like very sophisticated,
Right.
elegant,
Mhm.
ganon. Parang, ayun nga, if you want your brand to appear as a brand that's like in a higher price point, or
Yeah.
you want your brand to be like playful, approachable, very, affordable pang masa, ganon. I mean, hindi naman yun parang black and white lang. Kasi you might want your brand to be like sophisticated but at the same time, approachable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
true.
that can be challenging, but that's when you hire a good designer to make that work for you.
Mhm.
'Di ba? Yun yung pinakauna mong dapat i-establish kasi after you establish that, like at the back of your mind, you already know what you want your brand to be,
Look
like how you want your brand to be perceived by your
Yeah.
audience. 'Di ba? Parang after nun, the next steps in your creative process will just be fairly easy. You're gonna have to always go back to ayun nga, your positioning, like how you want your brand to be seen.
Right.
And then after that, very easy na lang yun. Easy na lang mag-pick ng logo, mag-pick ng brand colors kasi alam mo na oh, I want my brand to look fun. And
Yeah.
kapag sa brand colors, you want to steer clear from colors like black.
Yeah, we want a pop
Yeah,
of
yeah.
colors.
If you want your
Vibrant colors.
vibrant colors like yellow, orange, ganun. I think that's the most important concept that you have to remember.
Super.
It's a bit tricky, no? Kasi sometimes may mga brands na hindi ganun ka-approachable and magulat ka yung price point nila, oh my gosh, it's like 500 pesos. And you know. So yeah, I really agree with you, no? And sometimes if you have the budget, you can, hire some professional designer to help you with that. Yeah, so Ange, I'm just curious why you think visual branding is an important consideration in e-commerce.
I want to be bold and say na visual branding is like can make or break your
I agree.
company.
100%.
Yeah, when it comes to especially e-commerce. For example, I am a person who shops online quite often, and like and when I go to like a store's website or like an online marketplace, when I see the visuals of like a store and it's not and they're not appealing to me, like I would not bother.
Ew.
I would not even bother.
That's
Like,
you.
Yeah. So diba? Kasi for example, again, if I'm an online seller and like I know that my products are very high quality,
Yeah.
but I'm not able to present them in a very appealing way on my store.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, then I know what's the point, you know? But compare it to like another store that's like selling the same products that I am selling, but they're able to present it in like a nice way. They have very nice photos and visuals for them.
Yes,
Yeah, aesthetic photos.
Aesthetic.
Aesthetic photos. So your customers will most likely purchase from that store kesa dito sa sa
Exactly, yeah.
sa unappealing yung visuals, 'di ba? And it's not that lang kasi for example, if you're selling bags, right? And you take really nice photos of bags and everything. Like, okay, and the person views your, for example, IG. You have an IG, and your feed is okay. And you have those bags on there. That person will probably feel indifferent. Like, okay, this shop is like selling bags. But if you add like photos and you have someone model it,
True.
yung bags, 'di ba? Mas parang inclined yung customer na parang, oh my gosh, that would look good on
It
me.
stirs up their imagination,
Yeah,
like what
yeah.
I look.
Yeah, so again, it's the way you present your products then that can grant you a sale or might not grant you a sale. So, yeah.
That's so true. I like how you what I got from that is depending on how you present your brand, it will determine the amount of trust your customers will have with the company. Like if it's I want to get something that's let's say of quality, but their website uses Comic Sans and like the colors are clashing and there's just not good photos of like of how it is. So I'm like, I don't trust this. Bye.
Pero pwede ko bang itanong, like, kasi di ba, ang ganda ng visual branding. And at the same time, yung mga reviews kasi na parang hindi naman yung nakuha nila. How do you parang fix that? I don't know kung part pa siya or parang not really. Like, sa photos, it looks nice and then...
So for that, syempre the ones that you can control lang is the visuals that you post as a seller on social media. So when it comes to the like bad review, like expectation versus reality, syempre wala ka ng control dun. So for that, you also have to, be mindful or be careful of what you post also. Kasi of course we want magagandang visuals on our page, of course, para syempre bilhin ng mga pero you have to draw the line between borderline scamming your
And that's exactly the point when you say, kasi a lot of people are thinking na branding is only about visuals, di ba?
Right.
So actually that's the point. No? It's not really only about visuals, but also how you provide or deliver your service.
Yeah, you don't wanna
So it's really
overpromise
important. Yeah.
and underdeliver.
So visuals is just one aspect of branding, parang ganun.
That's better.
Yeah.
Okay, so in line with that, what are your top tips for merchants who are still figuring out the different aspects of visuals, of the visual branding?
I think first and foremost, ayun nga, I've mentioned several times na you have to isa puso mo or isa isip mo yung positioning mo, like how you want your brand to be perceived by your target audience. And the most important thing is be consistent with it. Especially if you're aiming to be very present on social media and even in traditional media, 'di ba? Kasi if you're consistent with your brand, with your visual branding, kahit yung mga audience mo, kahit hindi naman talaga chine-check yung buong post mo, for example, once they see your brand colors or like your iconic, like how you present your brand, how you take photos, like your imagery, the next time that they scroll to their feed and they see your visual, they'd be like, oh, I recognize this brand, I remember this brand. So there's like this brand recall. So consistency is really very important.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, when you think about yellow and red, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Sorry. Two out of three.
Right.
No, I was gonna say as well, because one of the strongest brandings right now is the premiere of Barbie. It's a specific shade of pink. And if you look at the way they market it, they don't put the posters, it's just that shade of pink. And you're gonna associate that with Barbie.
Yeah.
Right.
So good. Diba? Ang galing.
So, aside from consistency, I wanna say, ayun nga, yung uniformity, especially if you're in e-commerce. Kasi, like my example earlier in Nike, also, if you go to their website, you're gonna see how they present their products. Like, hindi yung mga, kahit Uniqlo, hindi yung mga yung mga photos lang na parang random lang na angle. Yung mga shoes ng Nike, when you check their website, they're like, lahat sila uniform. And like, yung sapatos, kunwari, dito nakaharap. And all the other shoes, ganun din yung angle. So, it's very uniform. Kaya, hindi siya,
Wow.
diba, yung parang, wow, that's Nike. You know? Ayun, just the consistency really helps with brand recall. That's the top tip that I'm gonna give.
Brand recall.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So may certain, sorry, wala to sa question. Pero, I'm just curious, di ba may certain shade of color, a certain shade of green, or pag red, parang na-associate mo sa love. Pag green naman sa service or care. Di ba normally mga health insurance, parang color green.
Yung
Pag
money.
service company naman,
Environment.
color blue, something like that. No? Environment, or Zen Nutrients, parang green yata sila. Di ba?
Yeah.
Organic, etc.
organic products.
I heard actually from someone, because usually you associate something delicious with red and yellows, but then chat time was purple. And for the longest time, my sister was so off with that, like, why is it purple? And then they heard that, because purple gives this sense of comfort, because they want people to sit and stay. And that's why they
Right,
wanted
right.
to choose it. And also it's like
Yeah.
a royal feeling, so you want to have like this sort of princess treatment while you're there.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, now I get it. Now I get
Okay.
it.
I thought chat
time.
Chat time. Yeah, parang dahil bestseller nila yung Taro. And
Okay.
Maybe that too. Good theory. Good
Yeah,
theory.
Yeah, when choosing your brand colors, you have to read up on color psychology.
Oh,
Ayun,
yeah.
yung mga meanings ng color, and also color theory as well, so that you can figure out which colors work.
represents
Yeah.
your brand,
Yeah,
your company.
It makes a lot of sense. I learned a lot today.
Good. Thank you so much for your insights, Anjeli.
Yes. I love, like, okay, to summarize before you begin the specifics of the branding, like the logo, the typography, it's all coming down to the why behind it. What's the message you want to give? Do you want to be somebody that's approachable, or do you want to be someone that shows that you have class? And you're not for everyone. So if I'm looking at you, then that means it makes someone feel special. And what's that new vocabulary that we learned today?
Brand recall.
Brand recall. And then color psychology. I
Yeah.
love that. Amazing tips from today, Ange.
You're welcome. I'm so glad to be here. Actually, I feel like I can sleep after this 2 business days.
Good one. So hopefully, with the insights that we heard today, you will be able to express the personality and look that you're going for with your brand. And for more content on anything and everything e-commerce, follow our Payo e-commerce podcast for more.
Bye.